Who would convince the millions of Nigerians to vote in future elections, only to see their votes stolen and given to someone they did not vote for?
Millions of Nigerians being disfranchised because you lost an election. Elections you have been contesting since 1992. Is that true, Donald Duke?
But also let me focus on Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar has been contesting the presidency since 1992. Indeed, there is really no election since 1992 that he has not participated in.
Given winning an election can be, losing an election can be very, very painful. At least Hillary Clinton can also tell us this much.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election for the values we share and the vision we hold for our country. This is painful, and it will be for a long time.
So this is going to set the tone for our conversation for today. Atiku Abubakar's reaction to the Supreme Court judgment, which of course, judgment which was handed down on Thursday, 26 October 2023. So welcome to my channel, Shani's Digest. I welcome on board my new subscribers as I continue to appreciate my returning subscribers. This is the channel where we get to speak out and say it as it is. On Thursday, 26 October 2023, the Supreme Court upheld the election of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the duly elected president of Nigeria, thereby trashing Atiku's and Peter Obi's petitions for lacking in merit. And since then, we've actually been waiting for the reactions from these two since this pronouncement was made. I had on Thursday put up a video on this while deferring my reactions to today, and coincidentally Atiku has also chosen today to grant his famous war press conference in a bid to react to the Supreme Court ruling for, of course, trashing his petitions and refusing to admit any new evidence. So let's take a peep into what the Supreme Court said about admitting new evidence.
The question may be asked, can a court extend time circumscribed by the Constitution for a party to do a thing he could not do before the expiration of the time? The obvious answer is no. That the time limit for the filing of written statement on oath of witnesses, the election petition proceedings, is 21 days from the date of declaration of results.
And now that he has finally reacted to Supreme Court's ruling for trashing his petition and refusing to admit any fresh evidence, well, Atiku likes granting war press conferences as a big man, so his reaction has to come with a big bang.
If the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, implies by its judgment that crime is good and should be rewarded, then Nigeria has lost, and the country is doomed irrespective of who occupies the presidential seat.
Atiku is trying to tell Supreme Court that if you do not have the sole prerogative to trash me, and I equally have a right to also trash you. So Atiku looked at the Supreme Court eyeball to eyeball and said, if you can give this kind of judgments, you have elevated criminality as good, where you have legalized forgery in Nigerian politics, then Nigeria is finished. There is no hope for the common man. In fact, I need to rightly quote what Atiku said here. He didn't say there is no hope for the common man. He said, if the Supreme Court were to be the last hope for the common man, now the Supreme Court is now the lost hope for the common man. That's what Atiku is saying.
And judicial system have become the lost, not the last, but the lost hope of the common man.
So Atiku is obviously feeling this much pains after his fishing expedition to Chicago State University, where he said he uncovered that the certificate President Tinubu presented to INEC was indeed forged, a move many described as a wild goose chase. Atiku, of course, failed to convince the Supreme Court to admit this as new evidence.
The other grave implication is that contestants in Nigeria's election should do whatever is necessary to be declared winner. That includes identity theft, impersonation, forging of educational and other documents, perjury, and violence.
So according to Atiku, this very unfortunate decision of the Supreme Court to trash his petitions has cast a dark and gloomy image of Nigeria in the international, community, and has made Nigeria a laughing stock. So Atiku says if people can just manufacture non-existent certificates and coin Nigerians into electing them into the highest political office in the country, the office of the president. So instead of Supreme Court to rise up to its responsibility as required by law to give purposeful interpretation and people-oriented judgments, the Supreme Court would rather choose a narrow and selfish interpretation of the Constitution, pandering towards serving the interests of Tinubu and the ruling APC. And that if the Supreme Court is telling people that it is okay for INEC to say one thing and then do exactly the opposite in order to reach a corruptly predetermined outcome, then Nigeria is finished. That's what Atiku is saying. So he said, when people lose trust and confidence in the elections, democracy is on life support. That the courts are simply usurping the right of the citizens to vote and elect their leaders, and are simply telling the politicians that they can do whatever they think is necessary to be declared winner, and that they can even indulge in all kinds of electoral malfeasance. Is it certificate forgery, perjury, violence, impersonation, thuggery? You can name them. That's what Supreme Court has suddenly elevated electoral malfeasance to such level. That's what I think we're saying. We're going to take some reactions from this Atiku's world press conference, because a lot of Nigerians have, in fact, reacted to this world press conference. So let's take some tweets. We can never get used to saying that someone on X, they still say Twitter, tweet. Of course, that's the sound of the bird. The logo is still the tweet. The tweet logo is still there, and it's X. Anyway, so let's jump into that now. Our first tweet on this is from Abdullah Room. Abdullah Room is saying that Atiku attended 3 presidential debates, has given 3 post-election world press conferences. Obi attended uncountable presidential debates, has given 3 world press conferences, yet their father, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, no attend presidential debates, no press conference. Kai, this kind of thing, they paint too much. Well, that's his opinion. I do not subscribe to presidential candidates and boycotting presidential debates. So we move to the next tweet, and this one is from Chikozim. Chikozim is saying that your so-called war press conference was full of rancor and inciting statement, and a so-called elder statement like you is threatening the national security of this country because you lost the election. You deserve to be locked up by the authorities and investigated thoroughly. Then we move to the next tweet. This is from IT Man. IT Man is saying that you would have been a better choice to the one we have now, but you refuse to work with Mr. Pio. Of course, that's Peter Obi. Now look at where you are. Really sad. I just bought dollar at 1,225 now. Oh, Icy Man, don't even drag me to this dollar thing, because I don't even talk about it, because this is an entirely different story altogether. So I don't want to even get involved with that yet at the moment. Another is from additional Ayodeji. He said, I love your right, but can you please tell the world what you did as vice president under your boss, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, that made him to say that the greatest mistake he made is making you his vice president? Sir, what did you do to him before you start talking about 2027? Obviously, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is saying that during the press conference, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has come out to say that he's very much in the game, that he will continue to play politics. Because I don't really understand this Reno Mokri guy, honestly, because I'm wondering which camp does this guy even belong. Because I remember when President Tinubu spoke at Chatham House, Mokri was there with some group of people chanting and calling Tinubu drug lord, drug lord, drug lord, and that, trying to scuttle what President Tinubu was then, doing at Chatham, when he was speaking at Chatham House. And then suddenly he's pandering towards the camp of Tinubu, because we are really wondering. I mean, he used to be Atiku Abubakar's right-hand man. So what went wrong? All of a sudden, the guy is neither here nor there. So now he is advising Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi that they should not even think of contesting for 2027 presidential election, because if they dare that, they're going to be roundly and disgracefully defeated. So that's what he is trying to say, And then Jamie Olatz, of course, is reacting to Atiku's World Press Conference by showing Atiku taking a nap on board a flight. Of course, showing tiredness here. So he's saying that take a rest, sir. You are glaringly tired and need to be retired. So that's what this tweet is saying. Probably our last tweet for today is on the Great Bondi. The Great Bondi is also reacting to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's World Press Conference. He's saying, Your Excellency, sir, if only you stood by 25% FCT as our constitution clearly stated, justice would have been delivered. There can't be 3 persons claiming to have won when truly only 1 person met all requirements to be declared winner. So, of course, obviously, this is taking a swipe at Alhaji Atiku Abubakar on his fishing expedition to Chicago State University, where he said he uncovered that the certificates and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented to INEC was indeed forged. But of course, unfortunately for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, this was not admitted, because obviously the time allowed by the Constitution, the 21 days allowed by the Constitution for petitioners to file in their case had elapsed. So he couldn't, bring in fresh evidence. Yeah, my take on this is that a lot of people are, are questioning the judgment of the Supreme Court. That the Supreme Court, instead of confronting the big elephants, in the room. What's the big elephant in the room? Where INEC couldn't transmit the result electronically. The forgery case against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And then, of course, the 25% FCT, which, of course, was clarity on that was given by the Supreme Court. I don't know whether other people have other interpretation of that. I don't know that. But instead of the court to dwell on this big elephant in the petition, the court would rather, be basing its judgment on technicality. And technicality on I asked technicality on what basis for if the Constitution stipulates that within 21 days of declaration of results, petitioners should file in their case. And after the expiration of 21 days, what do you expect the courts to do? To allow fresh evidence? But most people are not even seeing that. They're not seeing that. The same Constitution that makes these pronouncements is the same Constitution that most of them are saying that, at least they should have admitted this new evidence. Maybe there's merit in the evidence, but Constitution is already stated clearly, backed up by Electoral Act. So the Supreme Court, to my own opinion, its hands were tied, couldn't do much. So Atiku, more haste, less speed next time. So this is where I draw the curtain for today. Thank you for finding the time to watch my video. If you like the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up. Strike on that notification bell so that you get to be notified when next I upload a content like this. Leave your comments down below and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Stay awesome. See you pretty soon. Peace as always. Out.